Good morning, everybody, and welcome to P&M in the AM. That's right. My name is Mike Lara. I'm going solo once again this morning. Welcome to another edition of P&M in the AM. We're going to get into some things this morning. Eagles still battling in training camp. Could there be a quarterback on the move for the Birds? Some camp reports coming out of a particular quarterback who may be seeing his last month with the Eagles. We will get into that. The Phillies try to bounce back from a kind of crazy game yesterday. A lot of people would think that game would have been a low-scoring game with Scooble and Wheeler going head-to-head as the Tigers yesterday used the long ball, beat the Phillies, hit 4 home runs yesterday. Or 5 home runs yesterday, to beat the Phillies. And I'll tell you what, it was crazy. They hit 4 home runs yesterday. They beat the Phillies 7-5. Phillies had a couple of long balls themselves in the case of Castellanos and Bryce Harper. Yesterday, for me, honestly, really kind of taking that game in yesterday. It just seems like the middle relief kind of failed the Phillies yesterday. If you look at the, pitching matchups yesterday, Scooble went 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 10 strikeouts. If you go to Zach Wheeler on this, Wheeler, to me yesterday, he was kind of off a little bit. Looked like he was off with his command yesterday. He pitched 6 innings. Wait a minute, where should we get into that there? Yes. So, yes, the box. Yeah. Yesterday, if you're looking at the pitching, Wheeler goes 6 innings, gave up 9 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, no walks. He wasn't wild. He had 10 strikeouts, but he gave up 3 home runs. Tanner Banks would come in and give up the other home run. Again, Matt Strom, to me, I don't know. Matt Strom to me was very I was very frustrated by him. Phillies were fighting, trying to get back into it, and he goes and gives up the home run yesterday and puts kind of the Phillies behind the 8 ball. Right as the Phillies were trying to get back in, they would get it within 2, and then all of a sudden, boom. So, again, Phillies lose yesterday 7-5. You get 5 runs off of Scooble. If you get 5 runs, you got 3 runs off of him, they pulled that game back. You should have won the game. But here's a little interesting tidbit with Scooble. If they score more than 3 runs for him, he is like 24-0. 24-0. That's a crazy, crazy statistic. So, we're going to get into that. We're definitely going to be getting into tonight's game as an old friend comes to Citizens Bank Park tonight. The Tigers will be sending out Charlie Morton with a record of 7-8 against Christopher Sanchez tonight. And right now, if you're a Phillies fan, you got to feel really good going into tonight's game. I know last week we were talking about the Sunday game, and again, they would be. We were kind of a little pumped going into last Sunday's game, and it was kind of not to be. But Phillies are kind of struggling right now. 5-5 over your last 10. The Mets are 6-4. The Mets retake the lead in the NL East. I'm just going to be happy with the Phillies, really. I'm going to get into looking at their schedule coming up over these next, they have a plethora of teams coming up, and to me it's just crazy as they go this month. Right now they literally are getting ready to they have the one game with Detroit today, 3 with Baltimore, at Texas next week. Then they play at Cincinnati. I mean, this is just to really kind of get into what's kind of in front of them. Baltimore's kind of a bottom feeder. I think, they should go down and handle business. But look what happened. The Baltimore series is here. So, I think they should be able to get around them. But then they got to go to Texas. The brief interleague play that we have seen over these last few, probably the last 20 years or so. Well, since you're playing every team, since they've gone to, you play every team now. They haven't really fared well in Texas. If you remember the last time that they were there, down there, we opened the season down there and we got swept right out of the building. So, not really good, fond memories of being down in Texas for the Phillies. So, like I said, they got the one with they have basically 7, and then in about 2 weeks they play Seattle for a 3-game set. So that should finish up their American League. Their American League portion of their roster before really kind of, if you're looking at it, really the end of the month, they play 10 games against their division. You get the Washington Nationals for 3, at the Mets for 3, and then 4 at home with Atlanta. So for me, looking at that before going into September, September is getting to be kind of brutal, man. If you're really looking at it, I'm sorry, they do play 2 other American League teams in September. I forgot they have a home series. They have 2 home series with Kansas City and Minnesota, which is depleted. Now Minnesota's just been obliterated. But I mean, if you look at their scheduling right now for September, it starts off pretty darn brutal. I mean, you're at Milwaukee for 3, and Milwaukee's the best team in baseball right now, sitting with 66 wins. They're the best team in baseball record-wise. And then you have a team that's been playing really, really good baseball. And I'll tell you what, I was on air Friday night, and while I was on air, the Pirates were up 16-12 on the Marlins. Okay, they were up 16-12. The Pirates ended up blowing that game and losing 17-16 Friday night. I mean, God, and the Marlins right now, they're 8-2. So, I mean, they got a long way to go for themselves. Then we finish out our season with the Mets. We have 7 games left with the Mets. We have 3 up there in Flushing. We got a 4-game set here. And that very well could determine our division. If you're looking at it, I mean, the Phillies have a nice 7-game homestand in the middle of September, which consists of the Mets and the Kansas City Royals. And then they finish off with a nice 6-gamer at home between the Marlins and the Minnesota Twins. But in between those 2 series, they have a West Coast trip where they go to play the LA Dodgers. And then they got to play the Arizona Diamondbacks, which have been 2 teams in 2 places. Phillies never play well in Arizona. I'm interested to see what this is going to be. So far, 2 games, with our new additions. Friday night was electric, man, with Johan Duran. The way he came in, a 4-pitch save. He should be ready to go tonight, along also with Orion Kirkeren. They both had the day off yesterday. And I'm going to tip my cap a little bit here because we've been kind of rough on him. And Jordan Romano came in yesterday, and, with that lineup that the Tigers have, man, he was able to set them down. So, little kudos to him. And I'll tell you what, I also like the young man had another bounce back from yesterday, too, was the young man they had in their home. Trying to find it. Where is it at? Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Sam Lazar. Lazar had a nice bounce back yesterday. Had a K in the 9th inning. Romano was able to get in there for a third of an inning because he had to come in and bail out Strom, who just imploded yesterday. I don't know what's up with this dude. Hopefully with the reacquisition later on this month with Alvarado. And if I am the Phillies, I am using and abusing Alvarado to help them get to where they need to get to. I know he will not be a part of our main roster, but for the postseason, if there is a postseason, but I'll tell you what, right now, looking at them guys, man, you're going to have to use him coming in. But what type of Alvarado are we getting? So that's another thing you have to kind of keep in play. Aaron Nola is getting close to returning. I think that could be a blessing. Hopefully he's healing up and being able to go and throw and be able to help this team. But if you're looking at these, I mean, I'm looking at the schedule literally coming down the line for these Phillies, man. And I'll tell you what, it is rough. It is so rough going forward. And, for me, it's really hard for me to, I don't know. I want to ask you guys, is it hard to get behind this team? Because it seems like they take a step forward, 2 steps back. Some weeks they'll take 2 steps forward and a step back. So, I mean, you really got to look at some things to go. I mean, if you're looking, I'm going to go over the Mets schedule. Like, the Mets got a pretty brutal schedule coming up, too, as well. I mean, just for right now, I mean, they're next. They finish up with the Giants today. They got 3. They host Cleveland for 3. Then they go to Milwaukee for 3. Okay. And then the Braves come limping in. And I believe the weekend before the Phillies play the Mariners go there. So literally they have the Brewers. They finish off with the Giants. They have the Giants, Guardians, Brewers. They get a 3-game set with the Braves, which is always a kind of a crazy game. They get Seattle for 3. Then they start their kind of division play with the Nationals for 3. Then they're at the Braves for 4. Or no, I'm sorry, they're at the Braves for 3. Come to Philly. They come home, play the Phillies for 3, and then they host the Marlins right after that. And as I'm looking down at it, this is how they end August, is with a 3-game set with the Marlins. But I'll tell you what, I'm looking at their Mets got a brutal schedule come October. Holy cow, man. I just looked and seen this. They got to play. They're at home for the Rangers for 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Where is it? Oh, September 1st. They go to Detroit. They play the Tigers for a 3-game set in Detroit. After Detroit, they go to Cincinnati and play the Reds. Then have to leave Cincinnati, play the Phillies here for 4. Leave the Phillies, go home, play the Rangers for 3. They get the Padres for 3. Then they get the Nationals, and then they got to go to Wrigley to play the Cubs. And then they finish up on the road in South Florida. So that's the Mets September schedule. Holy cow, I thought the Phillies had a bad one. Jesus. So Christopher Sanchez got to get that ball rolling tonight, guys. Let me get over here to your comments. Adam Cease checking in, says, good morning, happy Sunday. Our man Ryan Swoop. What is going on, Ryan? He says, they're alive. Always, buddy, always. If it ain't me, it's Pat. If it ain't Pat, it's Pat now. We all get together sometimes here. He said, Adam C saying solo again. Yes, I am solo again. So I will definitely be I have Phil and Pat now will make an appearance one of these days. Maybe I'll have him as special guest on P&M in the AM. But he says, against a good team, this is what middle relief is. Unfortunately, credit the bats and finally getting around on Scooble. Yeah, Scooble's. I'll tell you what, us being here in Philadelphia, you don't really get a chance to see guys like him too often. You would have to catch him on like a national game or something like that, which I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised that neither team didn't push their aces back for a nationally televised game tonight. I just, to me, Charlie Morton is hit or miss. And it really all depends. When he was on Atlanta, he was hit or miss. And, I would definitely take a look at that. I mean, he's got a 7-8 record going in. So that, the advantage should be to the Phillies. The Phillies should win this series. And that would be a big win for the Phillies, this Detroit team is definitely one of the favorites in the American League to go to the World Series. Toronto, to me, has really kind of caught them, but I'm not. Is it me? I think you still got to worry about Houston, and I think right now Houston has that pedigree. They have the postseason pedigree over there in the American League. So I wouldn't count them out. If anything, I would think they would be my odds-on favorite, just because even though the team has kind of, it's not the same team that won in 2022 down there, but they still have a lot of the same pieces that are there. Same thing with the Phillies. The Phillies are battle-tested. I mean, I know they've gone backwards in how far they've gotten, but they're still battle tested, and I think they're one of the battle tested teams going in for the National League. I also believe the Dodgers are battle tested as well. There won't be no Braves this year. So, I mean, I think San Diego did a lot at the trade deadline. I just think they did too much. I don't think that's going to give them enough time to turn this around to get hot and get on a run. And what they gave up for Mason Miller was ridiculous. You could tell that GM over there is fighting for his job, just for him to do what he did. So I'm happy with what the Phillies did. They went and got a right-handed bat. Yes, he's not the best name, but Harrison Bader's got playoff experience. And just look what he did a year ago, against the Phillies. The dude seemed like he was a pain in our butt, so. Ryan Swope checking in says, I'm not trading for Micah, not giving up lots for one player, and he's just will be commanding a lot. Plus, Jalen Carter needs to be paid too. No. Fans are crazy. We're going to get into that, Ryan. We're going to get into that when I get into the Eagles. When I was covering for Pat on the wraparound the other night, I kind of brought it up. Look at the way the Eagles are run. And then look at some of these teams that are good that, have made either have done something in the postseason and then, that have been, maybe to a Super Bowl, like teams like the Bengals. Look at the Bengals. Every year it seems like their players are looking to like move out somewhere or go somewhere else. I mean, I don't know. There's always something in Dallas. There's always something going on in Dallas. Like the Cowboys can never go and get ready for football. It's always something with them. And but I guess, Jerry likes it. So Noobs checking in says Scooble is the best in baseball. Skeen has dominant streaks, but Scooble has everything and is left-handed. He gets the best pitcher in baseball title from me. You know what? Yeah. Ryan says 26 and 26 in the last 52 games for the Phillies, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. They've been definitely up and down-ish. And it gets frustrating with this Phillies team, guys. It really does. It said it just really feels like we will need to rely on other teams losing players to injury to have a chance in October. No, I don't think that, Steve. I don't. But here it is. I mean, you have to look. I turn around and I don't think that. I really don't. I think, the Phillies have been kind of humming like throughout the whole year. If you really look at it, like they've really kind of put it down and, they kind of just been ho-humming along for most of the season. I mean, they had that nice stretch, in May. They had a very nice May, as Matty B will point out to you and tell you probably later on today. So they've just been ho humming. But I mean, just look at it. Even with them just ho humming along, they're still one of the best teams in baseball, man. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, well, they're within like the top like 6 or 8 teams in baseball right now, record wise." So I mean, they're doing their thing. But I don't think it's going to take a chance. They just the big bats for the Phillies got to come through, and if the big bats don't come through this year in the postseason, you will see a change in this offseason. You will see guys get traded. You will see guys leave. So Ryan saying Mike Lower flying solo. Al Safiri checked in. Reposted the stream. Al said woke up sick, man. Hey, man, feel better, dude. Feel better. So, yep, Max Lazar. He had all right. Mario Alpini checking in. He says Zach has to get into pre-All-Star break form for us to have a chance. Our bats need to get hits earlier and not after the 7th inning. Yeah, I mean, I will say this. They got good pitchers too over there, Mario, and you gotta. I don't know, man. Sometimes you just got to do this. The one thing that this Phillies team is really good at doing, they can beat up on bullpens. And that's something that will come into play, I think. Look at what the Mets did. The Mets literally went out and got all relief help because they know their starting pitching's just not going to be there if they get there. They're just not going to be there. So, for me, I definitely I like what I'm seeing right now. He said Kemp is definitely a nice bench piece to give us some depth. I think Crawford possibly coming up either August 31st or after the AAA season ends. Not sure what. I mean, I would like to see Crawford called up before then. Give the kid a chance. If he's raking down there, like, stop. What are you stockpiling him for? Like, to me, if you're putting to me, I feel like they're leaving him on a shelf down there. Again, this is the Phillies doing something stupid. Everybody else can bring up their young talent and throw them in the major leagues. Like, this is how you're going to find out what you have. Bring them up. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to go into a postseason with Max Kepler. I don't. I think Kepler, and I was very high on Max Kepler signing here. I seen what he did in Minnesota. I thought it was a good signing for the Phillies. It was a low risk, high reward thing. And guess what? He has not panned out. So I would love to see him. I would love to see him come up. Wheeler's just got to fix the ball command control is okay. Breaking stuff is okay. But relying on other team schedules is not good formula for baseball. Sure, it's a way in, but it worries me for going deep in the playoffs. I'm just bringing up. I'm not. How can I put this? I'm not looking at the other team's schedule. This is the team that they're you basically every day, Mario. They're flopping back and forth. One will lose, the other one will win. They're flopping back and forth. I'm looking at common opponents here going forward and how bad and how deep their middle of August and September schedules are. Because let's face it, you're going to have to win those games to get in. So, yeah, I'm going to go look at the Mets schedule because the Mets and the Phillies are fighting for first place right now. And when you look at their schedule, you're going to look at who the Phillies play compared to who the Mets play besides the 7 games they have against each other. That's 7 games. The reason I did that is because, one, I wanted to see who the Mets were playing in September, whether they had cupcakes going into the end of the year or teams that have already been decided that they're not going to try and compete. So, yeah, I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to go and check it out and make sure that, I'm going to see what our competition has. So, for me, I mean, the Mets got a brutal schedule. They definitely have I think they have the harder of the two teams schedule. So, I think the Phillies have a chance in September. If they play baseball, they have a chance to not only catch the Mets, but surpass the Mets. I mean, you have 7 games with them. There's only a half a game lead. Sooner or later, one of these teams is going to be playing a 4-game series while the other one sits at home and only has a 3-game. So they're going to be caught up soon as far as like record-wise. But to see who they have to play, where they have to play, it's a big deal. I mean, the fact that they got to go out to, they have, the Padres going in there. They play the Rangers for 3. Even though the Rangers they're not, they got a very hard schedule in there. And Atlanta always plays New York tough. For some odd reason, New York cannot beat the Braves. Even this year, it's kind of like the Phillies with the Mets. Like, we've played 6 games with them so far, and they're leading it 4-2. So, I mean, for me, we are just going to have to wait and see. Just going to have to wait and see here. He said, yes, I'm not going to explain myself to you again. Yes, I am. I'm not going to explain myself to you again. Know why I don't think the Phillies are a World Series contender. Maybe a playoff team, but they're not a World Series contender. Dude, knock that off, Ryan. They are a World Series contender. Yeah. Vegas thinks they're a World Series contender, buddy. Follow the money. That's all I'm going to tell you. Follow the money. If Ranger had better velocity, he would be Scooble. Yeah, probably. Noon said, never been a believer in the Padres culture, but Pelio wants to beat the Dodgers so bad. Noon, you are, you know what? You can definitely see that. Yep. So, since the Dolphins have it worse, Trumpification. Huh. All right, there. I'm gonna call you Donnie T there. He said you started off talking Birds Briefly. That's why I brought up the mic. Yeah, I'm just letting you guys know, Ryan, that I was going to be going into the Birds. I'm also going to cover some Penn State too. Penn State kicks off the end of the month. So with that being said, keep a lookout here. Not possibly, there will be a Penn State post-game show following Penn State football this year, and yours truly, that's right, I will be hosting that. It is called the Happy Valley Huddle, so make sure you guys tune in for that, because yes, I will be going live right after Penn State football this year, and it starts on the 30th of this month, so we'll get into that later on. We'll talk about that, and anybody who knows me knows my feelings for James Franklin, so we will definitely dive into that. But now we're going to move on. Again, Phillies and Tigers tonight. Charlie Morton versus Christopher Sanchez, which, by the way, I got to ask you guys, is just the contract signing for Christopher Sanchez, is that not the biggest theft in baseball right now? Is it not the biggest theft in baseball right now? The Phillies, definitely, they're going to have to come out their pocket and pay that young man when it's his time. So, but yeah. But, so I'm looking at it like this, man. So again, tonight, 8 o'clock, ESPN. So we will be jumping into that. Now let's move on to the Birds. Pretty big week for this Eagles team. Was reading a story online, and I found something really interesting about the Birds, about their quarterback room. Apparently, and this was by, I believe it was Bleacher Report. Let me go back up here. Where's it at? Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated came out with a story probably about a day or so, about a day yesterday. It says Eagles QB predicted to be as good as gone. And they're talking about Dorian Green-Thompson. If you know Howie, I don't think they're going to cut the guy. I think somewhere down the line, somebody somewhere is going to get hurt. Howie's going to grab himself another draft pick, whatever it may be. I don't think they're just going to cut Dorian Green-Thompson. I think he will get traded. Now, what type of value trade they get? They may get a mid-round pick for him. Uh, but I think if that's the way it's going to go, and that's the way it's really kind of been looking. I've been hearing, been following Elliot Shore Parks in his daily reviews of camp, and it seems like Kyle McCord's kind of like taking that spot from him, and I'm happy for Kyle McCord. I think he could definitely be the Eagles. I think he could be the Eagles quarterback of the future. I think he will be backing up Jalen Hurts. I think Tanner McGee will be traded. Not this year. I think, when the time comes, they will offload Tanner McGee somewhere. I think he could be the Eagles QB of the future. You figure Jalen's got 4 years in. You never know what may happen with Jalen. He may, leave and go somewhere else via free agency or whatever. So sorry about that if you hear the ambulances going here. Right outside my house is a main cog, and they like to fly down here with their sirens blazing. But yeah, I'm really, really digging. I like the quarterback room right now with Tanner McKee, Kyle McCord. But let's get into this little, I guess, kind of the buzz. The little shouts that are coming from DC and Dallas. And if you're a Cowboys fan this morning, how are you feeling? Hearing your best defensive player saying, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. And and what is going on with DC? Okay. Like, what are you guys thinking? Terry McLaurin was your best receiver for since he's come into the league, he's been your best wide receiver. And you don't want to pay the man? But you go out and get 30-something-year-old, you don't want to pay him, but you'll go out and trade for Deebo Samuel. If this isn't a sign that if this is not a typical this isn't, oh my God. I mean he's got me I'm so flustered by Josh Harris. This is a typical Josh Harris move. Okay. And you know why people in Philadelphia, I tell Commander fans all the time when I speak to them online, I say, listen, it's not that we're poking fun of you. This dude owns our basketball team. He does the same thing for our basketball team. Oh, let's make a super team. You'll make the postseason, but you'll never get over the hump. So to me, I think it's funny. The Giants are kind of chasing their tail, running in circles about what they want to be and what they want to do up there. You got both of the stuff going on with star players in DC and Dallas. Like, to me, I'm sorry, and I'm going to be real blunt. If Micah Parsons is not playing in that opener, the Eagles are going to steamroll the Cowboys. It is not going to be close. I think I was kind of leaning towards a kind of a lopsided win anyway. Not because I think the Eagles are that much superior than Dallas. I just think Dallas has got all new coaches, new schemes. Like, they're not going to be a well-oiled machine going into that game. And I think Dallas will get better as the season goes on. But this guy down here, man, sooner or later, somebody's got to take Jerry and go, Dad, you got to retire. It's like, man, you got to go. You're screwing this up. Because, I mean, for me, like I said, and to me, just hearing the stories that came out about this, like, you're bringing this man into your office without his legal representation to represent him. Like, they're talking about, being a captain and, being a team leader, and all of a sudden he's talking to him about his contract without his representation there. Like, what are you doing, Jerry? That's crazy, man. It is. But hey, all I know is this: our football team here in Philadelphia, they're getting ready to play ball. That's what they're doing. And this is after they hoisted the Lombardi Trophy. This is after they had a parade. I love the mentality that's really coming in. You didn't see this mentality in 2018. 2018, Doug was taking time off from training camp to go do book signings. Okay? I think they learned something. At least the front office, I think, learned something from that. Everybody was high on the hog in 2018. People were still talking about it. But this is a byproduct of when you go and get individuals who have won. Okay? You bring a guy like Jalen Hurts in here. You, you bring a guy like Devontae Smith in here. They have won. They won on their levels. They won on the collegiate level. They were that team on the collegiate level. So yeah, they know what it's like to play in big games. You know, and I wish Pat was on here because when Jalen Hurts got drafted, I looked Pat. I'll tell you right now, we were at Crack Bell Studios. We were on the old Devereaux Sports Network, and me and him were talking, and I looked him dead in the face, and I told him, I said, this kid will bring you a Super Bowl. I said, he's got the winning mentality. I said, he's got it here. A lot of people told me I was nuts. Oh, he couldn't even. I'm like, you guys forget. Yeah, did he get benched? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, but he also came off the bench and saved Tua. Tua's making good money right now because Jalen Hurts came off the bench and saved his ass. And a lot of people, you don't hear people bring that up. Okay? You don't hear people ever bring that up. You never hear people bring that up. Tua's making money right now and has a national championship because of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the guy who saved him when he was the starter and he got hurt in the SEC title game. It was Hurts that came off the bench and led them to the national title game. So I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Tua's got a lot of things to thank Jalen Hurts for. So, Noob saying Jahan Dotson should have a better year for the Birds this year. As a Michigan fan, I love James Franklin. Oh, as you should. Well, I don't know because he's done pretty well against Michigan. Now, if you're an Ohio State fan, you could just pretty much laugh at us because he never beats Ohio State. I mean, he's beaten Michigan a few times. I mean, hell, everybody beats Michigan. You get lucky and win a couple of that. You get to you win a national title right away. It's look at us, and then you go get beat by Michigan State for the next 5 years. But no, Noobs. Honestly, I agree with you. I think Jahan Dotson takes a big step this year. He's been working with Jalen in the offseason. People forget, man, that, for as little as he produced last year, he's still a number one pick. He's a first round pick. There's a reason he's a first round pick. And I'll tell you what, I think he got here a little too late in camp to get that kind of camaraderie with Jalen. I don't think so this year. I think this year he's really going to go and do what he has to do. So, I mean, for that, excuse me 1 second here, guys. My wife is awesome. My wife, Jamie, I'm not going to show her because she will kill me if I did. But she actually brought me a cup of coffee this morning. So, thanks, Jay. So, yeah, awesome. So, yeah, I would definitely agree with with Jahan Dotson. I think he'd have a pretty decent, really, or not decent. I think he could have a solid season. And I'm also liking the kid. Was it Mathis? I think his name is Terrence Mathis. No, I gotta look at his. Where is it at? Here we go. Let me log in right here. Uh, oh, They're having a press conference already this morning. Damn. There we go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to look him up right here. Oh, where the heck is he? There we go. Anyway, I had his name on my tip of my tongue. But yeah, Terrence Marshall. Terrence Marshall. There he is. I would definitely be I like that. I like him. I think they can be a nice they go 4 wide, man. Holy cow. Mike checking in. Mike Papernick. Good morning, Michael. As he checks in this morning, he says, I wouldn't trade for Micah and the X amount of picks it's going to take to get him. And also, Dallas don't want to help out any team in our division get better. Oh, that's true. Oh, that's true. I don't want to get Micah now. I'd rather get Micah as a free agent. I'd rather get Micah Parsons as a free agent. And yes, if he came here and got under Vic Fangio's defense, yeah, I think he would flourish. I really do. Because if you think about it, and I'm going to say this, think about something. He would be going against Lane Johnson every day in practice. If he was on the Eagles, he would get better. He really would. I think he would get better in the Eagles, but I wouldn't trade for him. I'd wait for him to hit the open market. You know what I mean? That's the only way. To me, he's a guy that you pay to bring here. You don't trade for him. And even though they have a slew of picks, the Eagles, yeah, you don't ever want to make your division rival better. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll end up somewhere. You know who I could see making a push to try to get him would be Detroit. Detroit could probably try to go and get him. And the Rams. I could see LA doing that too. I could see the Rams and Detroit trying to make a push if he does hit like the trade market. I could definitely see them trying to do it. And it also depends too on what kind of start the Cowboys have too. I mean, if they get up to around, if they start off bad, they may pull the trigger and just trade him. So he says all Micah and McLaurin are doing is doing what players do is trade me. It's a scare tactic. With Parsons, I would say yes, because he's trying to get his bag and he wants to get it early. McLaurin, no. I truly believe McLaurin's probably like, yo, get me out of here. You don't want to pay me? Get me out of here. And I don't blame him because he has been their number one for what, the last 4 or 5 years? And they don't want to pay the guy? They trade and bring in Deebo Samuels? I guarantee you they try to throw a bag at Deebo. Though, right? I mean, come on. I don't buy that. So, but Noob saying, not sure what happened to Jerry Jones, but he loves it. I think all of us Eagle fans are just sitting back here and just watching what's going on in Dallas. We're eating our popcorn, guys. The Eagles need to settle the score. They're better at what they do than AR is at what he does. Okay. Andy Reid. We made Andy Reid. AR did not make the Birds. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll tell you right now, just a little Phillies point. I would love to see the Phillies at one point in time. I'd like to see them, if they ever move on from Rob Thompson, I would love to see them try to rehire like Terry Francona, because I think he deserves a mulligan to come back here and coach here with a good team. So I would like to see them give Tito another try here in Philly. I think he'd be a lot better. But Adam checking in here, he says, yeah, you would want Michael Parsons in Philly if he leaves Dallas. I would, but it's got to be for the right price, And you got to remember, the Eagles are at that point where they can look at somebody and go, if you want to play here, this is what we can pay you. So, you know, that's why to me, I would hit him when he's a free agent because I think Michael would take less money to come play with the Eagles because he knows he would have a shot going to a Super Bowl. He's not going to go to a Super Bowl in Dallas. Let's be real. Even with the new coach, Schottenheimer, that as long as Jerry Jones is pulling the strings for the Dallas Cowboys, he is not. They're not going to win another Super Bowl. I think he sold his soul to get to 5. The 3 and 4 years. He sold his soul for that. And I think, why do you think they've been going down so bad? They're the only team right now in the NFC that has not made a title game in 30 years. They lead the way now. Think about that for a second. Think about that for 1 second. The Dallas Cowboys are now leading the way. It's been 30 years since they've last hit the this will be the 30th season. And I don't see them going to the NFC title game this year. Mike saying, if Mike is traded, I'm saying the Rams because they have 2 first-round picks in next year's draft. I do believe so does Detroit as well. I think Detroit is as well. Mike saying Francona's in Cincinnati. Yeah, I know. I know he's in Cincinnati. I just saying before Tito decides he doesn't want to manage baseball anymore, the Phillies should give him another shot. Be like, here, he always refers to his time in Philadelphia as a mulligan, and I think the opening press conference would be great. You have like John Middleton go, yeah, we got to make this right. We want him to make sure that he knows that we weren't a mulligan for him. Tito deserves a mulligan. So guys, what are you guys looking for in this first preseason game? Thursday night. Probably be on Channel 10, NBC 10 here in Philadelphia. What are you looking for? Because you're not going to see Hurts. You're probably not going to see nobody from the starters. So what do you who are you looking at? Me, honestly, I wanted to see if Van Summer I want to see him get some looks. I want to see him with the fullback. First play, man. First play, I'm throwing a fullback screen and letting that dude run. So I want to see it. I want to see how they look. I want to see how the linebackers look, especially with Campbell. I want to see how Campbell and I think there's going to be a period of time where you're going to see Campbell and Trotter on the field. And I think I'm excited to see how they play. I'm looking really forward to the defense. I'm waiting to see the Vanilla Gorilla, Ty Robinson. I think I can't wait to see him. So I really want to see how this Eagles team, now granted, they're not going to show us anything. They're going to be running, everything's going to be a vanilla, they're going to be running a vanilla defense. But there's some things I'm going to be watching in this game. I'm going to watch that battle for the third quarterback between Kyle McCord and Dorian Green-Thompson. I'm going to watch that battle, see how it plays out. All right. Mike saying the Rams and Browns have 2 first-round picks next year. Oh, okay. I thought Detroit had 2 as well. Steve says Cowboys and the Flyers unfortunately feel like they're riding a very similar boat. No. I'm going to disagree with you there. Flyers got some hope. Yeah, I don't see no hope with the Cowboys. Sorry. I'm hoping Johnny Wilson and Ananias Smith make a push. I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be hard for Ananias Smith to make this team. He may have to be a practice squad guy. He had some flashes last year. I love Johnny Wilson. I think he's ultimately going to replace Dallas Goedert in this offense. So, yeah, I'd like to see. I agree with you with that. There, noobs. He said, let's see how Mike Papernick says, let's see how some of these guys battling for DB spot 2 and Degina safety, how Trotter looks and the Vanilla Gorilla. I'll tell you what, man. I don't think you're going to see Coop play a lot of safety. And the reason why I'm saying that is just I think it's going to be very vanilla. I think he's going to be. They're going to leave him like they were. They're going to have him out like they had him last year. They're going to have him playing kind of slot. So to me, it's going to be interesting to see. Little takeaways from the Hall of Fame game the other night. You see our boy Avonte Maddox out there had made himself a couple plays, trying to get noticed over there, trying to latch on with those Detroit Lions. I forgot that the Eagles released them, to be honest with you. The only teams that should trade for Micah are win now teams. Yeah, I agree with that. Somebody was trying to link him to Green Bay, and I laughed. I was like, he's not going to Green Bay. I was like, there's no, I mean, if they pay him, he'll go. But, I mean, I can't see him going to Green Bay. Their defense, it's like going to the Cowboys. Like, he would be the only noticeable one of going. All right, guys, I'm going to jump into some Penn State football as they look to improve upon their Final Four appearance a year ago. James Franklin. I will say this about the Nittany Lions. They definitely have upgraded at the wide receiver position, which I felt last year was their downfall a year ago. They still bring back Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. But I will say this. I love the additions that they've made in this offseason via the transfer portal. K'Ron Hudson, I like him a lot. I think this kid, he is going to be the guy in between the 20s when you need a first down. He's going to help you get it. Another name to look out for this year, Josiah Brown. Okay. I'm also going to three guys I want you to look out for if you follow Penn State. Josiah Brown. Okay, which I believe he was a transfer that came from that small school. I'm trying to remember offhand where the hell he came from, but it's skipping my mind right now. Devontae Ross. And I'll tell you what, another name you're going to hear, and he's wearing number 11, the new number 11 at Penn State, LeVar Arrington II. That's right, you heard me. And if you have not seen this young man, I strongly suggest you go take a look at him because, man, he is as advertised. Looks just like his daddy and is built just like his daddy. And if he plays anything like his daddy, that will be he'll live that legacy on. It's going to be interesting to see how they move on. You know, Tyler Warren gets drafted in the NFL. Luke Reynolds will be taking over for him. So, again, I'm waiting to see who's going to be doing what this year. They also got a big boy. They got a pretty big running back, too, in Tyler Holtzworth. So, again, I'm just naming some of these guys to keep a lookout. Cam Wallace, make sure you keep an eye on him. And Zakee Wheatley, starting safety this year. Danny Denise Sutton, he comes back. Zane Durant will be back in the middle for these guys. And, of course, Dominic DeLuca, the senior linebacker, will be out there this year. So, again, I'm really excited about what has been going on with this Penn State football team. Now, if only James Franklin can get out of everybody's way, then, hey, we can do that. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to pay some bills because, we have to. First and foremost, I believe Matty B is covering for Pat today on the Fightins Final, so make sure you tune in for that. He will have you covered, and, of course, he does his most awesomeness down on the farm segment. So, Matty B will be with you following the Phillies. Sorry about that. Had to reach across there. He will be with you today. The upcoming series, I do not know who will be filling in for Pat on Monday, but somebody will be filling in for Pat, and he would be. You have Steve on Tuesday, Maddie on Wednesday for this upcoming Orioles season. Tonight, I don't think there will be a Maddie. I don't think Maddie B will be doing both. I think he'll probably combine them via Fighting Spinal into the last word. Phillies are playing at 8:00, so he may just jump on and start it, and then just kind of, by the time he's done, it should be. By the time the game is done tonight, he should be able to finish up his wraparound. So he'll probably do the final word / wraparound kind of combined tonight. So again, make sure you guys tune in for that. Thursday, Steve, until Pat is back from his hiatus, Steve will be taking over talking all Union. That's right, Thursday night, 9 p.m., the attacking third. Steve will have you covered with all of the MLS and Union coverage. Excuse me, guys. So, make sure you check Steve out for the attacking third every Thursday night. I'll be filling in for Pat again on Friday night for the wraparound. We'll be discussing I will be giving you recaps of the Eagles' first preseason game. Also, what's going on with the Phillies, how did their week turn out. We'll be talking more about that. And then, of course, next Sunday, hopefully, I'm joined by Pat now. Again, Pat is taking care of what he has to take care of, and Al's under the weather. So hopefully it'd be great to have those guys to sit in here and talk to. So, guys, make sure you tune in. I am going to be getting off of here very soon. But I want to – here we go. I got some questions right here. He goes, as much as I'd like to see Ringo advance at CB, I know what my eyes have told me the past 8 years. He hasn't improved his ability to pivot, cut, and start and stop, but MVP on special teams. Mike Patrick says, how about Johnny Manziel sticking up for Cam Newton, going all crazy on Gilly the Kid? I think he should. And, it's okay to have an opinion. And I like Gilly, but to me, Gilly's nothing more than a mascot. He's no different than me or you. We're fans. We're Eagles fans. And I didn't have a problem with what Cam Newton was saying about Jalen Hurts. Cam Newton played the position, and he played it at the highest level. Now, I don't agree with his opinion, but Cam has a right to speak on it. He played the position. So I know I kind of got my high horse, but I got on my high horse and kind of said some things towards Cam, like it matters. Like I'm a nobody, but after reassessing the situation and taking a step back and kind of looking at it, he wasn't attacking Jalen Hurts. He was just giving what he thought was his opinion. And I'm sorry, fans like myself, Gilly the Kid, and even if Gilly ever seen it, I would say to his face, I'd be like, yo, man, you got to pipe down. That man played the position. You talking to him like you're a part of the Eagles. You're a social media influencer that got this song out for him and started doing all this crazy stuff, and they allowed you to be a part of that. Like, he got to go behind the curtain, and sometimes people, when they go behind the curtain, they don't know how to act. And I've seen that in my 30th year in professional wrestling. Sometimes you get people that just, when they get out there, they think just because they've been around wrestlers or, been in the back and may have heard some lingo spoken, that they can speak the same lingo and that they can talk because they've been there, because they've been around. But they didn't do the work to be inside that ring and have all eyes on them. It's kind of the same situation with Gilly the Kid. I like Gilly. I think Gilly's hysterically funny. But at the end of the day, man, you're a fan, just like I am. And Jalen's a big boy. I'm pretty sure if Jalen felt like Cam Newton came at him the wrong way, he would say something to Cam. You know what I mean? Now, some of the things I like the fact, Mike, also Cam Newton went on his podcast and literally apologized to Jalen Hurts because he did kind of take some shots at him, and I think that's what kind of got our ire up as Eagle fans, is because he said, Jalen can't relate. I'm sitting there going, dude, pump the brakes here. Jalen's been to multiple, he's been to multiple, national championships, and then left Alabama, won a cross country, and finished. Okay, he didn't win the Heisman, but he finished second. You know what I mean? I know Cam won the Heisman, but let's be real. The Heisman isn't given to the best football player. The Heisman is given to the most popular player. It hasn't been given to the best player in a long time. And that was before Cam even stepped foot on a college campus. So, again, that's not Cam's fault. Cam was an electric quarterback. He really was. He was Jalen Hurts before Jalen Hurts. And, I think, Johnny Manziel is also a part of that fraternity. And he's going to stick up for, his quarterback mate. Johnny played at the highest level. He got to the NFL. He may not have did what he wanted to do there, or what he have liked to, to do, but he made it there, And for a guy, like I said, Gilly, Oh, wait a minute. It says Dominic DeLucia sounds more like an owner of a corner hoagie store than a football player. I'll tell you what, it does, Steve, but this he's vicious, man. He's vicious. He had a couple he's the kid that intercepted Boise. He had the 2 interceptions for touchdowns against Boise. He says Mansell threatened Gilly, saying if we ever meet in person, as Gilly didn't attack Johnny or threaten him as Johnny is a bozo. Never been. Well, again, in Johnny's mind, he's the greatest. I call Johnny Manziel the greatest quarterback that couldn't make it. And it wasn't. He wasn't. He was set up to fail, man. He really was. So, again, that's just if you look at it, he's going at Gilly the Kid. Gilly the Kid is a social media influencer. Okay? So by him sticking up for Cam, which Cam don't need Johnny Manziel to speak for him, but you have Manziel. What's that doing? That's putting Johnny's name out there. It's putting his name out there. You know what I mean? Mike, just think of our old ECW days. Okay? When we used to go down to ECW, how many times did you see Bubba Ray Dudley walk out and smack somebody? And they'll be like, all right, what? Got people talking. You know what I mean? Got Bubba. I've seen Bubba smack a couple dudes down there. So yeah. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it gets out there. Or again, some of our ECW days. I'm going to say one name: New Jack. I'll say that. God rest his soul. But it says here, Noom says, we overreact to words purposely put together to elite your response. Well, here's the thing, too. And, and because we wear our heart on our sleeves as Philly fans, everybody in the country feels like they can just take a shot because, you know why? We'll respond. Why do you think guys like Nick Wright are relevant? Nick Wright ain't doing this stuff in Kansas City because people in Kansas City ain't going to care about what he says. So what's he going to do? He's going to talk bad about the Philly media. He's going to talk bad about Philly. He's going to talk bad about our Eagles. You want to know why? Because us as Eagle fans are going to go, dude, you're a moron. We're going to lash back. Because if you come at ours, we're going to come for you. That's just how we are here. And I don't think it's just Philadelphia, too. You got New York's like that. Boston's like that. So, we're the bear. And the rest of the country likes to poke. But, what happens when you keep poking a bear and the bear turns around and finally takes a swipe at you? Then right away, we're the bad guys. So, this is why they do that. Why do you think you keep hearing ESPN talk about, every year, the Cowboys are going to come for the Eagles? And I think they're getting closer. Why? Because they know the Philadelphia fan base is going to go, dude, what are you watching? You know what I mean? So it is. Uh, Johnny Manziel, uneducated. I don't know if you can call him uneducated, News. I mean, he did go to Texas A&M, and I think he did graduate there. So, and or undiagnosed ADHD. Oh man. All right, guys, it has been fun. My meal of the day today. That's right. My meal of the day today is I have no idea because I gotta get back on the road probably by about 3 o'clock. I have to go return to Hershey for my last week of training up there for our beautiful state of Pennsylvania. So I will be on my way to Hershey. So I guess wherever I can probably grab a bite to eat, that will be my dinner plans for tonight. And definitely going to try to get in the hotel room and watch this Phillies game tonight. So guys, enjoy your Sunday. Again, Matty B, I believe Matty B said he was taking Pat's scheduling for right now. So again, make sure you check him out tonight for the Fight and Spinal / wraparound mix. Have a good night, guys, and don't get the skirts on the way to Hershey. Noobs, that's on the way home from Hershey, man. That's on the way home from Hershey. But you guys have a good one, and I will see you